Welcome to Planet Marzipan podcast,
your fish and Marillion podcast,
where we talk about all things in the planet of Marillion and fish. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate,
Craig Houston.
Hello, welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza, and here with my good friend
Craig, who's just had a swig of iron brew.
No, he's not ready. He's not ready, listeners. He's not ready at all. He's just admitted it. He doesn't know who Richard Barbieri is. He doesn't know what's going on.
Well, Barbieri, that was a film with Jane Fonda, wasn't it?
That's right.
Science fiction one. Duran comes from. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Richard Barbieri in that swimsuit. There's an image you didn't want. We are here with some guests to talk about Steve Hogarth and Richard Barbieri's releases. We welcome back to the podcast Nathan Page.
Good evening.
Hi, Nathan. We welcome back Paul McMillan.
Evening, gentlemen.
Hi, Paul. You okay?
Very well, thanks.
Good man. We welcome back Nathan's long lost twin, Gary Page.
Evening, chaps. How you doing?
Hi, Gary. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Nice to see you. And we welcome back the man what knows all the stuff, James Levey.
Good evening.
Hiya, James.
Hello.
So we were chatting before we started recording. Steve Hogarth and Richard Barbieri project came together 2011. Does that sound about right, Nath?
It does indeed.
Yeah. Nathan's had a bit of a dig around online. I'm going to throw over to him because he's had a chat with us beforehand. He's probably going to read the bit that I'm looking at now. But do you want to talk a little bit about how it came about?
Yeah. So effectively, they kind of met when Porcupine Tree supported Marillion, I believe, in '96 on the tour.
Yeah, we were there. We were there. For them in London.
That was the gig with H in his daffodil pants.
Before my time.
Oh, right.
And effectively, some point along the way, Richard Barbieri dropped him an email and said, "Do you fancy working together?" Steve Hogarth jumped at it and went, "Yes, I'd love to." And then Richard Barbieri would send H some material. H would then put lyrics and things over it, much kind of like he does with Marillion, and then it all kind of came together. From my understanding, at no point were they actually in the same room recording any of this. Richard Barbieri would record his bits in the winter, Steve Hogarth in the summer, and then they would be mashed together. And I believe the first time they came together to talk about the album was when they were doing promotion in Amsterdam.
Okay. James, do you know any more about that, or is that?
No. This one sort of sneaked under the radar a bit.
Yeah.
I know they did do after the H band dissolved in 2003. He did do some writing sessions in August 2005, and I believe Richard was there because he did it with the Bays.
Because wasn't there like a proposed like H band album where they did do some work together, but it never amounted to anything.
Yeah, it was just really 1 week-long session down in Brighton. I think Mike Hunter was there, and then nothing really came of it because then they went into what was going to be the proposed EP, or the Marillion proposed EP, which then got shelved and became somewhere else.
Okay. Wow. So the first release was in 2012, and it's the Not the Weapon but the Hand. Probably the longest release of the three that they've done. Probably a decent album's length. Quite interesting because, as Nate says, it's Hogarth's lyrics and vocal melodies, but everything else is Richard Barbieri, isn't it? From a writing point of view.
Yes, on this album, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys buy this when it came out?
I did indeed.
Yes.
I did, yes.
No.
Nope. Okay.
I did buy it, yes.
So what date did it come out? When was it? Do we know at all?
According to Bandcamp, it was the 7th of February 2012.
Well, according to Not the Weapon But the Hand, it was the 27th of February on Kscope. But prior to this, Racket were taking pre-orders that would ship 2 weeks before, and the first 1,000 copies would be signed by Stephen Richards. So
that explains why you have a signed copy, sir.
Yes, and so does James, to be fair.
Oh, mine's probably signed then as well.
It's in the garage. Who knows?
It's in the garage boxed up somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a Kscope, nice digipack book. Very strange image on the front. What is it? Do we know?
I believe
it's a fork, isn't it?
No. I believe it's a dental X-ray. I believe it's fillings.
Is it?
What?
I believe so.
Yeah, I was going to say it does look like that actually when you say it. Yes.
Because I think Steve Hogarth did like an interview a couple of years back, and somebody said to him, "Kind of what the hell is it?" And something at the back of my head says it's a dental X-ray, and I don't know whether it's Mr. H's fillings or whether it's somebody else's, but yeah, I'm fairly certain it's a dental X-ray.
I don't see that.
It's fork on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the front, it's not with the dentures, but with the gums, and on the back, it's not with the forks, but with the spoons.
And is it Carl Glover? It must be, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, we're glossing over this as though everybody knows.
No, so the photography is by Luigi Colosanti Antonelli, and the design is by Bill Smith. There you go.
Okay. All right. Stand corrected. I was just about to say, we're assuming that everybody knows who Richard Barbieri is.
Mm.
We all know Richard
I do.
He was big in Japan, wasn't
Hey.
Yes, he was a keyboard player in Japan and later in Porcupine Tree.
And then the H band.
Still is in Porcupine Tree.
He is, yes. God, I'm going to get everything wrong tonight, aren't I? He is at the minute, depending on what they do, but that's a whole other podcast. This is a very different release for H, I think. At the time, I was a bit sort of nonplussed by it, if I'm honest.
I was very WTF is this?
Yeah. It's nothing like Marillion, is it?
It's nothing like the H band either, which I was expecting it to be a bit more experimental, but I was expecting it to have a bit more like standard song structure, which it doesn't really.
But
This is a bit like. Sorry, go on.
It's also nothing like what kind of Porcupine Tree were doing at that point either. So, if you're expecting this kind of Porcupine Tree Marillion mashup, you ain't gonna get it.
No, it's a bit like some of Barbieri's solo work. That sort of dreamscape, atmospheric, tangerine dreamy, Eno sort of sounds.
But with hooks, I thought,
yeah,
I've listened to some of Richard's stuff and it doesn't particularly grab me, but this is it's quite a lush sounding record and there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
sorry. No, it's gone.
It's one of those albums that I know the backstory. It's obviously Richard's music and H sort of sang the top line over the top. It does sound very much like that. As someone who writes songs and it's just me kind of structuring it, a pop song or a rock song, it does sound like a kind of he's been given the music to drive around to and kind of float around it really. I love that sound. I think it's, as you said, John, it's grown on me over these last how many years, 13 years, and yeah, I listened to it a lot over the course of the last few weeks, and yeah, it's a beauty.
It is, isn't it?
But it also has, if you look at the notes, it also got Dave Gregory on it. You've also got Aran Armoon and Chris Maitland.
I know. Well, you see, Chris Maitland is. I'm going to say it publicly, so I'll get shot down for this. He's my favourite drummer in Porcupine Tree because I was lucky enough to see them with him in the lineup twice.
Same here.
Incredible. I mean, Gavin's a monster, but Chris has this, he just plays just behind the goal, just in front of the groove. It's a bit weird, but it's amazing to see that.
He's a very percussive drummer,
Yeah,
and he's a really nice guy as well.
is he?
Mm.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's a great
and
lineup.
also, Suzanne Barbieri appears on it as well, and Mike Hunter's done some programming and some mixing.
Yeah.
It's also got on one track, which I was going to talk about later, it's those late period Talk albums. Danny Thompson was on those records, and he plays on, I think he's only on one song, but it definitely feeds into that late period Talk
double bass,
sound.
wasn't it? He's playing.
Yeah, absolute legend. Sadly died, I think he died last year, was it? Year before.
Okay. Shall we get into the music?
Yeah.
Okay. So track 1 is quite long. It's probably the longest track on the album, is it? Red Kite?
I think Your Beautiful Face is the longest.
Oh, beg your
No,
pardon.
only Love Will Make You Free.
Oh, Only Love You
the
Free.
longest.
Okay, I'm wrong as well.
All right. I think I'm gonna use H's Corona Diaries opt out here. We are going to be as factually correct as we possibly can be, but we're a bit way off the mark, I would say. So anyway, the first track is Red Kite. Gary, what do you make of Red Kite?
It's it's a beautiful start to the album. This is the one we've got Dave Gregory, hasn't it, at the end. Well, I think he's all the way through it, but just that kind of beautiful guitar near towards the end. But listening to it recently, I'm going to cross two areas now of my school life. I work in the English department. This song really reminds me of a poem by Ted Hughes, which is called Hawk Roosting. So it's about power, and I don't think H has ever mentioned that, but to me, I got that vibe about, once I realized it wasn't actually about a real kite, it was actually about a bird. I definitely kind of had that power of this kind of feral creature in the sky. I think H said it's inspired as he was driving around listening to the music, him being in a car. I think he was in his car, and saying the juxtaposition of him being in this kind of mechanical car and this feral creature kind of overlooking the humans, and that's very much like Hawk Roosting.
Very good. Yeah. Well, what do you make of it?
I love this. I think it's got a great, the sort of that juxtaposition of, like you mentioned, the red kite sort of hanging in the air, and against the sort of like the backdrop of the sort of madness of the world that we live in, sort of type thing, that that the two pieces work really well together. I'd written down here actually that I love the that sort of sweeping orchestration that has that sort of in and out. It's fantastic. It's got some great sounds all around it, really. I think a few of us have already said prior to the recording of this that it's a great headphones album. I think.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, in this at the beginning of this track, H is way off in the left speaker, and everything else is in the right speaker.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, it mixes together and creates a great effect.
Yeah. So that's effectively what I've got.
Cool. Nath, what do you make of it?
So for me, it's a fantastic Hogarth lyric. There is a Hogarth moment right in the middle of it. So the Golden Cylinders of Hay section, I've always adored that. But then reading around the album today, most of you've hit the nail on the head. Hogarth's driving around, and it's a metaphor for kind of commuters as well. Kind of all rushing around. It's a bit chaotic, and it is that juxtaposition that Paul talked about. Potentially my favorite song on the album. I think it's a real highlight.
Yeah. Okay. James?
It's ethereal. That's the word that comes to me when I start listening to it. It's ethereal. And I think from this album, and we'll probably go more into this when we talk about other tracks, but it's almost H trying different ways of singing, melodies, whispering, very different to Marillion, but not, because a couple of these songs almost signposted his vocal melodies that's going to become on Fear.
Well,
and actually felt on the beginning of this this sounds a bit like how the big opening of Fear was. As somebody who lives in Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, red kites, every day I am woken to the sound of a red kite, because they were released here and thrived. And sometimes you can see, if somebody feeds them, you've got 30 odd red kites in the sky. It's an amazing sight, and they're huge birds, huge birds. So I really get this. I can really see where H is going, because you see them when you're driving, you see them floating, and they really do, a bit like it's an albatross, I suppose. They're really on the breeze, and you can see the tail moving to catch the different thermals and everything like that. So I really like it. It's, as Nate said, it's also one of my favorites on this. So it's a great start.
Yeah. Okay. Craig, what do you make of it?
Definitely one of my favorites on the album as well. I think the guys have hit the nail on the head all the way through. It's atmospheric, it's ethereal, it's ambient, and there's some really, really nice, delicate guitar work in it near the end. It's not like a solo, but it just works so well with it. And Dick H has said, it's like driving on the M40 with the red kites up there. But I think he'd said something in one of the interviews as well about the juxtaposition of the madness of the modern world, but also the red kites hunting for roadkill. So
they are carrion feeders, yeah.
Yeah. So the seeing them picking up things from the side of the road and that as well, because the mankind's hit something on the motorway, and the red kites are taking a bit of advantage of that. I don't think it's part of a metaphor for the song, just what he just happened to mention in one of the interviews. But no, I think it's a definite highlight of these. And I say, coming into this album, first time listen, I did not know what to expect. But I think re-listening to it now, because I haven't listened to it again like for years, re-listening to it now, it's something I'm going to have to pay a bit more attention to. I think I appreciate it a bit more now than I did like 13 years ago.
I'm totally with you on that. I think James has probably just hit the nail on the head for me, actually, because H is singing in a very different way on this, speaking, singing, midway between the two. Now, in 2026, we're used to that, but this was kind of new at the time for him, wasn't it? And he'd not done anything like this in Marillion before. Maybe that's why I struggled with it when it first came out.
The style of the singing.
Yeah,
Different.
I think so. I always had in my head, this was a very sparse album, but it's quite the opposite. And it's one of the
a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah, it's one of the good things that doing this podcast has brought around, reevaluation for me of some of this stuff. I think Red Kite's a great opener, and it just builds. It's this sort of the second part of the song reminds me of Latter Day Talk in that things just appear, musical motifs appear, and then just drift away again, and then something else appears. It's a brilliant start, and as you've said about the juxtaposition, the red kite is hanging in the air, the red light waits ahead for me. It's just a brilliant lyric and a great introduction to this record, I think. Track 2 is A Cat with Seven Souls. Gary.
Oh, this is, I mean, a lot of it does remind me of Massive Attack, but this one is mezzanine. It's just like when I hear this, when I heard it today again, it's just that pulsing bass, that sinister, like Angel and the start of Angel or Mezzanine. It's kind of, it's got that all over it. Just a wonderful brooding song. It's just a great second track actually, after the kind of airy first track, and then go into kind of a brooding kind of type song. It's lovely.
Okay. Paul?
I don't know if anybody here is familiar with the work of Alan Wilder after he left Depeche Mode, or when he was still with them. He formed another sort of project, Recoil. Yeah. This reminded me of Recoil.
Okay.
That fin drum sound that is used in this has got that same thing going on. Obviously, he uses, during the sort of Recoil projects, there's spoken word in there, and he uses street poets and people like that. So I kind of got that sort of vibe from it. But yeah, there's some great stuff. I don't know if anybody else picked up as well. The guitar in it during that sort of midsection has this sort of like it almost goes into really like,
Yes,
and then sort of steps away from it again. You kind of go, oh, hang on, I recognize that.
There's a few bits in this song. I know, sorry to jump in a bit. Is that there's bits of like the Opium Den from Brave. There's a bits from Ice Cream Genius, and there's also some bits from what would later be Care in this, where it's got a little bit of mishmash of like almost like three different eras of his music. But I'll back off, Karen.
No, thanks for that. I hadn't picked up on the Care bit, but I did pick up on the others. Lyrics wise, I think that this song has got. I mean, it's I picked up and wrote that he's describing almost multiple personalities within one person. If that's how it came across.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I actually got the interview afterwards I was like, I'm right. That's where he is going with this. It's like the sort of face we have to show to different people. You know, you might have a sort of outwardly going expressive sort of thing when you're out partying with friends, and there's a different face, or when you're in a business meeting and there's a different face. So it's that kind of thing that was going on, and I got that sort of vibe from it.
Yeah, cool. Nathan, what do you make of it?
So from memory, H came out and said it was about Yasser Arafat at one point, which obviously pretend because one of his nicknames was the Cat with Seven Souls. So I think it's interesting knowing what we know now, and knowing that Gaza was to come, that H is already reading around those kind of figures. But as Paul's kind of alluded to, you know, obviously being the politician he was, and, you know, kind of the different facets of what he had to do, I think it's a very interesting idea.
Yeah. Okay. James?
It's an older lyric.
Yeah.
He's tried it quite a few times during the Marillion sessions. It dates back. The first time I heard it, or snippets of it, was during .com.
Right.
So it dates back that far, and then he extensively tried to get it on during the Marbles Somewhere Else and Happiness sessions, but they never really got anywhere. It never sort of got a musical idea, obviously, that tracked it through. I like it. It's, for me, I think I wished it kicked in a bit more. You know, when it's, we've said about in the center when the guitar comes in, the sort of different motives, and I wish it went up an upper gear. And I'm sort of feeling, oh, I was waiting for it to go, and it didn't. So I think for me, it leaves it a little bit, I don't know what's the word, but lacking on that one. But I like it as a song. But yeah, that's why every time I think, it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Greg?
I feel this would have fit on well to a sequel album to Ice Cream Genius. It's got that.
It sounds like it's off Ice Cream Genius to me.
It's got that like following flow. So if this had been something that would have been done by the H band and kicked in a bit more with tablas and a bit more with the drums and gave Dave Gregory a guitar, it would have made an amazing H band song. But it's good. But I think James is right. You do wait for it to kick in a bit more.
It does finish with all the backwards guitars and stuff, you know, all of that's going on at the end. So it does come to some sort of a crescendo.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's because I've heard it in a Marillion setting.
Yeah.
And they've done some really quite funky, groovy versions of it. That's probably clouding my my judgment. But
well, unfortunately, we haven't. So.
But again, this is one where he's doing a bit more falsetto-y, and it's his different side, different type of singing, where he's not quite, you know, when he had his mumbling phase.
Well, there's some of that on this track, certainly. At least he's enunciating, but it's spoken, isn't it, rather than sung some of it.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. It's all over the place, really. You're right. It could be off Ice Cream Genius too. It's really got that sort of feel about it. But it's a great second track after Red Kite. You know, it's different again, which is what you're looking for, isn't it? Speaking of different again, the next track, Gary, is Naked.
Yeah,
it's not a cover of Louise's Naked, is it?
Oh,
that's what I was hoping for, but you know.
Wasn't my wife went to school with her, by the way. That's another story. Yeah, in Oxted. Never thought we'd mention Louise on a Marillion podcast, but there you go. It's I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. It's you've got Louise in my head now. It was
Oh boy.
considering the music is Richard Barbieri. This one to me sounds the most like it could be written by H. It's just it's got that kind of lilting piano, different timing, isn't it? I think it's 3/4, so it's kind of got that waltz thing going on. And what we were talking about earlier, having not listened to it for so many years, I think to me it was all kind of a bit of a, don't know, nothingness. Not that's a terrible thing to say, but I don't think I gave it enough attention, and it's all coming out now,
Yeah.
so many years later. Which is as you said, it's the beauty of this podcast. It's all coming clear, almost like the fog's lifted from it, which is amazing, really. And that's the beauty of music. Yeah, it's another. You say it's another contrast from the first two tracks.
Yeah. Okay, Paul.
Yeah, this is another one that kind of lyrically kind of explores that same sort of thing about different sides to people. So it's that sort of repressing things and not going against the grain, and then sort of just being free with it and saying, "This is my opinion, like it or lump it" type thing. I got that from what the song was basically saying. Musically, I kind of felt that that this was more of H writing. When you look at it, it's like he's almost written a poem, and that the music's kind of then sort of just. I think I'd explained it before when I was putting this on the description on the website. I got the feeling that some of this was almost like the music became like a blanket that wraps itself around what H is saying or singing. And that's kind of where that's at. That's
Nate.
For me, oddly, thematically, I went to so a couple of lines jumped out at me, which was the somewhere under all that fear, somewhere all under that, all that best form of defense. It took me to something like living in fear later on. Thematically, it was almost that thing of, we've got to let our guards down, we've got to be open and honest, and I think it's quite a vulnerable lyric, and I think where the others are quite metaphorical, there's lots of things going on, there's lots of layers to the lyrics. I think this one's quite in your face. I think it's quite, as Paul says, you've got to kind of shed all those layers and just be open and honest about what it is you believe.
Okay. Wow. James.
I mentioned earlier on Seven Souls, I wished it kicked in. This is where it kicks in the middle of this.
Yeah.
And I like this one. I can see when you mentioned like the music like a blanket, it is sort of H opening himself up, but the music sort of protecting him a little bit. He tried this lyric early on in the sound sessions to quite a similar sort of Mark Kelly idea, and he had that same sort of vocal melody, but it never got picked up. But I like it. It's again, it's going back to, as you're saying, going back to this album, going back to these songs, you can see this signposting where he was going to go with some of the lyrics, some of the vocal melodies and stuff. And yeah, it's good. I like this one.
Okay. Craig.
I think the guys have been spot on with what they said. It's a very like open, raw, and like emotional lyric with H, and I actually feel that this almost could be related to the Invisible Man, but what actually cemented that for us was the use of the dulcimer in it. So it's got the slight sound like callbacks to Invisible Man with it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's this is what kind of caught my ear listening to it and listening to the lyrics and that. So I mean, it's not sounding like Invisible Man, but it's got the callbacks. I think to it.
I think there's something in what all of you have said. Certainly, as Nath says, and James, there's foretelling of what we were getting on Fear on a lot of this record, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot.
The title of the album later on. But again, as Gary said, it kind of starts with a really simple piano motif and a very slow drum and cymbal rhythm across the top of it. it almost ends a bit like I'm going to say like a incidental film music with at the end as it kind of fades out. It's interesting. You're in for a bit of a wake up straight after it, though, aren't you? So the next track is Crack, Gary.
Yeah. I just love hearing H's voice with those distorted vocals. I've always loved distorted vocals. I think Matt Johnson used to use them quite a lot in some of their songs. And yeah, just to hear H singing through a distortion is good. Yeah, obviously drum and bass is in there as well. It reminded me a bit of an obvious reference, but obviously Outside and Earthling era Bowie. There's a song later that really reminds me of Bowie, but we'll talk about that later.
I've got a note on that one as well.
And so have I.
Oh, I don't know. I won't have to mention it. We're on the same page. Yeah, it's kind of a nasty little song, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess you gotta have that. It kind of expresses all emotions across the album. So yeah, we gotta have a bit of obsessive love.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I thought it's got a rocky feel to it that then kind of goes towards. I mean, it lifts from that and then goes on almost into trip hop, which is really quite cleverly done in the music itself. I think the lyrics that are over that, like that sort of like I'm gonna love somebody into the point where they basically just crack and they're gonna walk out the door because they can't take this anymore. It is quite interesting in itself. Yeah, I think it's pretty much what Gary said. There's definitely Bowie influences in there. There's a bit of everything. There's a bit of Massive Attack in there a little bit as well, I thought. Yeah, great.
okay. Dave?
For me, it's quite an unusual. Certainly, the first section, Hogarth delivery. I can't think where we'd had that level of distortion and that attack on the vocal. It's very unusual. Where we'd kind of had elements of the mumbling prior to this. I can't think of a song where he's that in your face. I love it.
Okay. James?
It's one of my highlights of the album.
Yeah.
I really do like this. I think, yeah, as Nathan saying, that attack on the vocal and the distortion, everything, it's quite unique on this one to anything he's done before. It sort of sits in the middle of the album and it really gives a good drive. And again, this is probably the earliest or lyric. This one dates back the original lyrics or parts of the lyric was the easier for you to leave part was knocking around early as Radiation.
Right.
And they did a rocky version of it during Anorak as a jam, which got picked up earlier on the Marble session, and they did do a little bit of work on it, but then it got dropped as the rest of the music came together. And then tried again from Somewhere Else, Happiness and Sound. So it's a lyric that H really, really tried to get the Marillions to use. It has that sort of stalkery, love bomb sort of thing. It gives me a little bit of echoes to Invisible Ink. If you think about Invisible Ink, about, I'm going to write you little letters and everything like that, there's a parallel there for me. It's that obsessive.
I think that depends on your take on Invisible Ink, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think we covered that in the Sounds episode.
Yeah.
I appear to have a different take to everybody else, but weirdly, I'm not coming from the dark side on that one. But
for me, I am on the dark side, and yeah, that's where I get it. But no, it's a great song.
Yeah, brilliant. Craig.
Yeah, it's a bit odd because it starts off a bit dancey, then goes a bit drum and bassy, then it goes like a bit spacey with a distorted guitar, and then at the end, it's quite interesting. But no, H, you're not going to shave off all your hair. You're going to stop dyeing it as far as you go.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say this was tried out during the H band sessions in 2005.
Oh.
That would have been an interesting sort of take on that. Yeah.
I think it's a real highlight on the album, if I'm honest. It's not like anything else that's on the record.
No, it's not.
And as I think Nate said, it's not like we've ever heard Mr. H before. But again, at this point we'd not really heard the speaking thing either, so it's all just experimentation to me.
Very experimental album from top to tail.
Yeah, and maybe that's why, I don't know, do we think, I shouldn't say this in the middle of the pod, but do we think it did well? I don't know. We'll talk about the tour and the proposed tour later on. The next track is Your Beautiful Face, Gary.
Oh,
yeah,
that's sweet.
yeah.
Gary, Your Beautiful Face.
Thank you. I've got down here in my notes, it's probably the most Marillion track. I don't know if you guys would agree. It's got all the twinkling keys, the delayed guitar. It kind of reminds me a bit of side two, this is another record. Well, Happiness is the Road. Some of the stuff on that. It's kind of he speaks it, doesn't he? It's the first time we've probably heard him kind of narrate rather than sing, which at the time, going back to it again, totally went over my head. But now it's I think we're just used to his voice, aren't we? Now a lot of us listen to the Corona Diaries. We're used to just hearing him waffle on. But
I don't know what you mean.
yeah,
Podcast waffle on.
just before
Yeah.
bedtime. The amount of times I've fallen asleep to his voice. I have to go back now, 20 minutes. But yeah, he has got great speaking voice. It's kind of hypnotic, really.
Sorry, Gary's here in his capacity as the chairman of the Steve Hogarth fan club again.
Oh, we're back to the videos again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sad there was no video for Naked, but yeah.
just watch the Louise one. I'm sure you get a lot more out of it.
Fine.
I'm quite glad there wasn't a video to Crack, but you know,
Yeah.
Unless it was in an Irish bar.
Go on then, Paul. What do you make of Your Beautiful?
I put an asterisk and lyrics on my I mean, this is kind of it's almost like that somebody wanting to take things further, and almost, it's like an affair that didn't happen, but in the end up looking back, you're quite thankful that it didn't, that you didn't do anything about it and you ran for the door instead. Great. I thought it's just, it's got a certain eeriness about it, and it's also, I loved things in the music as well that sort of complement that guitar sound, as you quite rightly mentioned, Gary. The sort of delayed effect, kind of instantaneously, it was like, like your ear goes to, I know this, so that Marillion sort of thing that you'd mentioned before, it kind of just brought that to the fore a little bit, but it then goes off and then you've got the spoken word over the top, which completely takes you away from that. It's very, very cleverly done, and I thought it was obviously it's got that thing in there as well that feels like that it's got the reprise that we'll talk about soon after, I'm sure, which is the reason for the actual title of the album.
Okay, Nath.
For me, it's probably the most straight ahead song on the album, I would say. But it's also it feels very much like a real life lyric, but there's lots of, a little bit like Invisible Man. I think there's lots of things in there that probably mean something to Steve Hogarth that probably don't mean as much to the rest of us. So I'm not sure I entirely gel with it, mainly just because I don't fully understand what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, James.
Yeah, just the guitar bit. That caught my eye and thought, sounds a bit like No Such Thing off somewhere else with that guitar refrain.
Yeah.
That's what I've put this. It starts very much like No Such Thing.
Yeah. I really like the what if I'm just looking at my notes? It Takes One to Know One ambient refrain, and as this goes through the song, that's a really nice part of it. This one I had I think one of the early ones. This reminds me a little bit of Latter Day Bowie. Some of the vocal things. There's quite a few, as we've mentioned. There's quite a few sort of the way Bowie delivers some of the later stuff that's piquing my ears on this one. But it's not one of my favorites, but it's a nice song.
Okay, Craig.
Yeah, I've got what a bit like what Gary had said. It's got twinkle keys and stuff, and it goes into such a No Such Thing vibe. But later on, it does have very close like vibes to Deep Water, the latter half of Deep Water from Ice Cream Genius. To it, lyrically not, but just musically, it's got that vibe to it. But it's interesting enough track. Not one of my favorites, but interesting enough track.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it works for me, if I'm honest. I'm not keen on the speaking. There's too much of it on this track for me, I think. And it just, I don't know, it meanders a little bit. Sorry.
I was watching one of the interviews before about the lyrics, and yeah, I don't know if any of you guys read up on it. It's kind of interesting. I was kind of curious to know who the girl was, because it's about a girl that he knew 25 years ago that was devastatingly beautiful, but cold as ice and kind of ruthless. And then 25 years later, he meets her daughter, and she looks exactly like her, but she's lovely and like warm and kind of generous spirit. And I'm just curious to know who the lady was. We'll never know.
No.
Maybe you could ask him.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. We'll see.
Make a note of it for next week.
I will do. Will do.
Make it the last question though, Gary, please, because that could derail the entire thing.
Yeah.
The next track is Only Love Will Make You Free. Gary.
I mean, shall I be the obvious one to mention the fear lyric in the middle or not?
Yeah, go on. You get your first up.
Yeah, it's the obviously the fuck everyone and run in the middle. It's the only other note I've got in the music. It's so this is sprawling, isn't it? I think that's the technical music word for it, sprawling. But my favorite bit of this song is I think it's after the second verse, and it goes all a bit John Carpenter, a bit spooky synths, which I love. A bit like Halloween. Kind of it kind of drops and does this weird kind of spooky synth part, which I absolutely love. Yeah, so yeah,
Okay.
long track.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, a long track, but I got instantaneously kind of got like Peter Gabriel vibes from this. I don't know, that sort of sound that maybe leaning towards sort of earlier before some of that, or experimental up to that point, if you know what I mean. But it was definitely, I could see Gabriel having a crack at something like that. Yeah, I'd also Fear I'd written down as well. Obviously, that's where it makes its first appearance.
Yeah.
But yeah, but and obviously it's like it's almost like I like the harmonies in this. I actually put that down. I really quite enjoyed the harmonies that are going over the top of this. And then obviously just sort of things that, the other thing I'd written down was things to avoid, and asking what love is what I've put down as some of the notes for the lyrics. So there you go.
Okay. Nate?
For me, this is the most Marillion track on the album, and I think it's almost got a best of Hogarth in there, in that there's a little bit of a listing going on with the Only Fear Binds You, Only Fear. So that for me almost calls back to something like Quartz If My Heart Were Always, quite listy, and then we almost go to the I'm visited by a man who was 5,000 years old, and we're in Happiness, and it's very spiritual and out there, and then we move to Fear, and it's the fuck everyone and run, and nothing changes in 1,000 years, and it's we're almost moving through Hogarth's lyrics through the years for me.
Okay, so it's the best of his lyrics.
Yes.
Okay, James?
Yeah, I can see it's that sort of, this album sort of signposts the political awakening of what was to become with Fear. Because they had and I think my mind's gone, but I think it's El Dorado, that whole high falsetto fuck everyone and run piano part was from the sound session. So they had the beginnings of what was going to become Fear So maybe that was very playing in his head. I agree with Nathan. This sounds very. I could see Marillion doing a really good version of this, a bit like the 21st Century, where it really will kick in the second half of the song with the Searing Brothers solo and stuff. I think it would make a really good. If they're ever going to do a sort of covers of each other's solo work, this would work really, really well.
A suggestion for a convention set. Huh?
It is, yes. But yeah, no, I really like this. I like it the way it goes through the different sections, and I think it really highlights Richard Barbieri and the different facets of Richard Barbieri's synthesizer work and the bits he's done with Porcupine Tree and some of the bits of Japan in there as well. So I think this is a good one for him.
Craig?
I'm going to pick up with what Paul said earlier on. In my note, I did put H as Gabriel. So I'm with you on that. The keyboards and the sounds, especially in the first part of the song, are very, very like 90s Gabriel-esque. And I think it's really, really strong. This is definitely one of my favorites on the album, and I definitely think James is right in that as well, Nate. That this would make a cracking like full band Marillion track.
Yeah. It's a welcome return after the track before for me. A nice chorus or chorus type riff, and as the guys have said, it's very Marillion like this track. Yeah, all the better for it, really. The next track is Lifting the Lid, Gary.
This is one that it must have been so kind of paper thin that I didn't even remember it from the 12 years ago. But I think it's I was always a big fan of Talk, but I over the last 10 years I've become obsessed with the Spirit of Eden and Laughing Stock and his solo album. Yeah. And to me, it's kind of it's that kind of space. H's voice is kind of very kind of weaving around the music again, and it's got that shuffly kind of Laughing Stock drum sound, and that,
he's a big fan of Mark Hollis, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's a big Spirit of Eden. Yeah, he's always referencing that, isn't he?
Yeah, Spirit of Eden.
No, what about Laughing Stock?
It's worse, isn't it? There's less as he goes on. Laughing Stock's after Spirit of Eden.
It is, yeah.
It is.
Then you've got his solo album.
Yeah.
There's just less each time. It's the Emperor's New Clothes for me.
Wow.
But you know, I'm a Philistine. What do I know?
Yeah. No, you're fully entitled to your opinion.
I've tried. I really want to like it because people say it's amazing. I just don't get that.
It took me. Don't get me wrong. It took me a long, long time, and there's times where I just love going back to It's My Life and today. But
yeah.
But anyway,
it's great. It's a wonderful record. Yeah.
To me, it was that You Throw Me Crumbs and I Survive was kind of a lyrical twin to Cage. Yeah, obviously that's very obvious. Do Not Feed the Animals, but to me that was kind of it. Totally took me back to Cage. It's kind of it's not storming. I know it's not the end to the album, but it's kind of the end to the album. But it kind of goes out on a kind of light breeze.
The album kind of rises up to the middle.
Yeah,
falls away. Back down again, doesn't it? Really. Paul, what do you make of this track?
Well, first of all, John, thanks for putting me after Gary because I'm also a fan of both those albums from Talk. I've got and I think that's why, perhaps going back to these albums have made it, it's like I recognize where this is coming from and what they've tried to do, and this the space around the notes to allow the lyric to come through is very, very, it's great. I'd put here on Lifting the Lid that it's almost like someone's feelings being sort of opened up after they've been closed for a long time, and they're just really cautious about, that feeding the crumbs in, and they're just too afraid almost to give too much of themselves away. And musically, I just thought that I've written here that it wraps itself sort of enhancing the lyrics with the ambience of it. So yeah, that's what I've got.
Okay, Nate?
I think actually, I know it's my least favorite song on the album. It just doesn't gel for me. And I know in interviews that H said, it musically it was Richard Barbieri's like Baby. He didn't really want it with lyrics on it or vocals or anything like that. So H had to approach it in a very sensitive way, but it just doesn't work for me.
James?
I'm similar to Nathan, actually. I think there's probably a track on Arclight that I'd swap it out with, which we'll get to. But yeah, I can see it's sort of almost an echo to Back to Naked about that opening yourself up, opening the box, and there's the cage lyric as well. But it also gives me some echoes to the last thing from the Ice Cream Genius about everything being in the box, and now you're lifting the lid. So whether that is just me picking up more than that's there, but that's where I got to. But yeah, it was a bit of a, as you say, leaving it with a light breeze. It was a bit like, okay, it's sort of going out. Where else you would put on this on the album, not sure, but yeah, it's not my favorite.
No. Craig?
Yeah, I think it's placed okay on the album. I mean, it's got H's breathy kind of lyrics. I think James Nath, I think he said really right. It does feel like a companion piece to some earlier work. But I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. It's not a favorite on the album, but I don't dislike it. I just like its mellow groove.
Okay.
Like
Don't
mellow.
mind it. That's not the best.
It's
bit
a
of
mellow,
praise
it's a
you've given
mellow,
anything, is
a
it?
mellow groove. And I just wonder, like, is it a milk bottle he's keep hitting every 30 seconds or so?
I think it goes on a little bit too long as well.
Yeah.
Could have been a
And
bit
what
edited.
is it? It's only just shy of 6 minutes, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not the greatest track, is it, for me? Some interesting lyrics. I mean, the last line, "Cruel of you to open the dark box where my soul was sleeping," kind of says it all, doesn't it, really? But yeah, I would have preferred a slightly different order to these tracks. If you finished the album on "Only Love Will Make You Free," for example, that might have worked better for me, but it's not my album. So the last track is Not the Weapon but the Hand.
Very long one, isn't it? It goes on forever.
All 1 minute 25 seconds of it. But it's just a reprise, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice reprise.
Yeah, it wraps the album quite nicely, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read I watched an interview where Barbieri said it was a piece he already had, and they just essentially crowbarred the part from the earlier song on. So yeah, but it works beautifully. Yeah.
This is the keyboards or the Barbieri stuff that's under this is more like something you would see with Porcupine Tree to me, that sort of atmospheric stuff. But that's the first album, because there was a bonus track which was download only, but then they put it on Arclight, didn't they? So we'll talk about that in a minute. Arclight came out the year after, is that right? 2013.
Yeah, I think you're right though.
Yeah.
I don't think it. Yeah.
And the version that I've got is on Poison Apple, but I think it was released on K-Scope, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the version I have as K-Scope. Yeah.
Because is it technically just an EP?
Yeah, it's 5
tracks.
tracks.
Because there's only 5 tracks. It's not.
Yeah. It's
It's
about
numbered,
29 minutes long.
It's numbered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000. Was it 1,000?
Yeah, something like that.
What have you got?
I got 115.
You would have. 535.
Jeez.
All right,
Yeah, not bragging.
Yeah, 2013. We'll go straight into it. Arclight title track, Gary.
Well, I got married in 2012. This is my excuse. Don't kick me off the podcast. I don't actually own this.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I've been kind of scrabbling around the last couple of weeks trying to find various bits and bobs. But yeah, obviously I didn't buy it 12 years ago, so I'm kind of playing catch up. But the as James said earlier, with Bits of Fear, I thought the first part of Arclight reminded me of the very start of El Dorado, right very beginning. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah, as I say, without having kind of long experience of listening to this song, it's kind of washed over me a little bit. So
Yeah.
you probably want to move on to someone else.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. Paul?
Well, interestingly, the first thing I wrote down is the piano, obviously, is the sort of lead instrument in this at the beginning. And it's at the very beginning, I actually thought, well, it starts to play a few notes and then it goes elsewhere. So it's almost like Nine Inch Nails, you know, it's that sort of like, you know, where you expect a note to go up, it goes down instead. It's quite it's quite a dark lyric, but it's actually quite a bright song. If you know what I mean? It's about somebody leaving, that it's coming towards the end of their time, and that's what I take from it anyway. It's coming towards the end of their time, and it's about leaving a legacy behind. And that's quite sad, but also, it's quite uplifting with regards to the music that's behind it. So,
Yeah. Okay. Nate?
Oddly, this version isn't the version I've probably heard the most, because H went through a period of doing it at H Natural shows. So I went back on setlist.fm earlier, and I think I've seen him do it 5 or 6 times. He was doing it. He was doing it kind of every year at Oxford for a good couple of years. So that's the version I know better in my head, and that's kind of where I've.
To a backing tape, presumably.
No. So I think I first saw him do it in like 2018, 2019. So it's just him and piano. I didn't have a clue what it was because I didn't have the EP at that point, until he got to the bit where he's singing Arclight, and I was like, okay, that's that EP. I should probably go and buy that.
Okay. James?
I'd forgotten he did that on his H Natural stuff. Yeah, it's coming back to me. Again, I see echoes of Fear in this, is what we've said. That whole bit about it's all in my head reminds me of the El Dorado. Something's cooking inside me.
Yeah.
It's all that thought, that anger that's bubbling up inside him. And again, it's signposting towards Fear. I don't know with it's just the way they sequence the EP, and I think I said this to you when we were chatting earlier, John. I feel that this is a bit more, the EP songs a bit more H involved in the making of the music,
Yeah.
whereas sort of the album itself is more Richard Barbieri with H coming in later. With this one, this seems a bit more collaborative, because I can see some more echoes to Ice Cream Genius here. It's okay, this one. It's not my favorite off the EP, but thinking about remembering it, actually even doing it piano wise, that I like that better than probably this version.
Okay. Craig?
I never bought this. I'll hold my hands up. It's one of the very, very, very few things that I never pursued, because at the time I wasn't a big fan of Not the Weapon. I didn't embrace it and love it. So when this came out, I really wasn't rushing to dive back into it. I think what the guys have said, that it is very, very foreshadowing of Fear, and his vocal delivery style on this is quite like experimental, and it's almost, the guys, what they said, it reminds you of a bit of a H Natural, where he's scrambling around to find the rhythm and scrambling around to find how he wants to perform it. It's interesting. It's not my favorite track on the EP at all, but it's interesting. Thank you, Pepper.
Yeah, I think Arclight the track is probably the best example for me of why these are headphone records. You put this on in the background, there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. You've got to get right inside it. I think it's a strange way to start the EP, if I'm honest.
As a lead track, yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice. Yeah. So the lyrics are strange all over the place, really, for a feeling I'm not sure I had come and gone like arcs between insulated things that could light up the world. Sometimes I just miss my mum and dad.
Yeah.
Anyway, track 2 is Intergalactic. Gary.
Oh, this is the Bowie one I was thinking of. Got Tin Machine written all over it. No, I like Tin Machine. So yeah, so it reminded me of Tin Machine, and I'm a massive fan of the album Outside. So it kind of only heard this a couple of times, so I'm basing my opinion off that. So yeah, it's a great rocky song, and yeah, Nathan's going to tell us if it's the same version as the extra track.
Yeah, because it was the bonus download track for Not the Weapon but the Hand originally. Paul.
Okay, I've put down that this takes a few seconds to get going, but once it does, yeah, it's a bit later Bowie, folks, is what I've written. Yeah, it's got a fantastic sort of groove to this as well. I could actually imagine this being on the actual Ice Cream Genius album. I could definitely hear it. Would have a home there quite happily. Yeah. The only thing else that I've written there actually is pearls and poo in the lyrics.
Well,
and yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Nay?
Yes, it's the same version. Secondly, for me, it's almost lyrically a little bit 21st century, a little bit be hard on yourself. It's kind of, there are atoms inside you from the edge of the universe. It reminds me of that great balls of rocks and water spinning around in space, but also with the atoms thing, it's a bit 21st century. It's a really rocky track. I think if I were coming into it blind, this is what I'd kind of expect from those two. It's quite rocky. It's fairly in your face. I don't really like it.
Oh, wow. James.
I really do like it. This is one of the ones I would have swapped with Lifting the Lid, because I think it would have been a really sort of nice up-tempo ending to the album and then drifting into the refrain. Yeah, I think this is, what have I got? It's I could see this working well as a live track.
Yeah.
Saying about the H band, Ice Cream Genius, I could see the H band doing, really, really a good version of this. But I think, after arc like this kicks in, and it's like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Craig?
And my note I've put H band does Bowie. So I think what the guys have said, like spot, especially what James was saying there, the H band would have done a cracking version of this. I could see this being very, very H band rocky style. Yeah.
I was amazed that it wasn't on Not the Weapon but the Hand, because when he put it out as a download, it's like, why have you not put this on the record?
Do you not think it's a bit like the last thing off Ice Cream Genius? It didn't necessarily fit.
The last thing.
I'm not talking about the quality. I'm just talking about the stylistically.
Yeah, I suppose so, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it's probably the high. Maybe in a lane, but it's that one of the highlights of this CD.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, John, if it's because obviously there was a time difference between the release of the actual album and then these, whether or not these were unfinished pieces that they came together to then come and do. And I'm wondering if that's the thing.
But the download came out the same time as Not the Weapon.
It did, yes. Yeah, and it didn't change, did it? It was
it was a bonus track that you could get, but
yeah,
we'll if we get a chance, we'll ask him.
Put it on the list.
Yeah, put it on the list. The next track is Daddy Does Work, Gary.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass it over because I have listened to it a few times, but yeah, it's kind of a bit washed over me again.
Paul?
Yeah, this is very, I mean, in terms of the sort of lyrics, it's very childlike, isn't it? It's like a child trying to get the attentions of the father, who's obviously busy and he's
it's the guilt lyric, but it's written.
That's what I thought, John. It's a guilt lyric, that because even when he's away,
yeah.
imagining how the child feels. That's my take on it. But
Yeah, I'm similar to you, John. It's like he's away when he's writing an album, he's away when he's touring in an album, and he's also away upstairs when he's home working on stuff.
Yeah.
So he's yeah.
It's the way I'd written it, or the way I'd seen it was actually, I thought it was written from the child's perspective of watching the child watching dad going out the door, mum's around, smiles, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's, it's basically it's how the child sees it to try and get dad's attention, but dad's always busy. And that's kind of, that sort of towards the end of it, it's like, I just do trouble.
Yeah, it's good. It's great last line, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I love this sort of synth sound in this, but it's very sort of it's in the background, if you know what I mean. It's not one of the stronger ones in terms of that. I think it's actually allowing for that sort of lyric to come over the top.
Yeah. Nath?
Yeah, I think this is where on this EP where it is a headphones EP. I think if you listen to this in the background, it will just wash over you. Which I did once today, and then it came to an end, and I was like, have I even listened to that? But just to expand on the bits you guys have picked up around him going away on tour, coming back, I think it's, and although it's not H or Barbieri, in one of the transatlantic liner notes, Pete Chavez says, thank you to his family for even when I'm in the room, I'm not necessarily present. And I think it does expand on that, which is with the kind of the fact that, they work in a creative industry, it's all in their head, often when they are present, they're not necessarily, mentally, emotionally present for their families.
Okay. James?
Yeah, I picked up on that as well. This is what I was writing about the Guilt song. That was he writing this was because Vibes was quite young at the time, and sort of he's going in. It has also for me echoes of the Levers, because it has that I'm going away, I'm going to work, I'm creating that distance from you. But it does. I really get what Nathan said. Is sort of if you don't have it on headphones, it does sort of just wash, almost like a lullaby. That sort of really soft musical side.
I think the vocals are so high in the mix, and everything else is, quite a way further down. You have to have it on headphones to appreciate it, don't you?
Yeah.
Craig, what do you make of it?
To me, this almost would feel like a solo H, right, musically and lyrically. It's just got him stamped all over it. But yeah, I mean, we've covered the Guilt lyrics, we've covered the childlike kind of stuff. I think it's a nice little tune, but it does feel to me like a purely H track.
I would have agreed with you until the end, because then you get all the Richard Barbieri
Yeah.
ethereal stuff coming in, the strange noises and the lush beds and things come out at the end. Although I said Intergalactic was a highlight, I think this is really good. I think this is better than some stuff that's on Not the Weapon for me, because the lyric works on two levels as well.
Yeah, I quite like it for
that. Yeah. Okay, the next track is a Hogarth solo write, and it's Oil. Should I go straight to Paul, Gary? Are you in?
No, I mean, the only thing I've got written down for this one is kind of towards the end, he kind of channels his inner Lennon in my head, because maybe it's the sitar kind of, it might be synth sitar, but it's definitely kind of channels a bit of Lennon on this one for me.
Okay. Paul?
Okay. I've got that sort of Middle Eastern sound. It's the first thing I sort of picked up on. Again, I got a bit of Gabriel out of this. With the tablas, the guitar working over the top, the sitar, as you quite rightly mentioned, and it all kind of adds with that ambient sound that's all going on as well. And then from a lyrical point of view, it's talking about the environment. It's also talking about the other side of Oil, which is all the opulence that goes with it, and the sort of the power. And that very much sort of adds to that sort of mixing pot of what the whole song's about, really.
Nice.
So I was actually going Within You Without You because of the sitars and the tablas and everything like that. So that's where I was going with it. But for me, lyrically, it's almost a companion piece to the New Kings. Where the New Kings is the banks, the money. This is as Paul says, it's the oil, it's the power that comes with that, and the wars it's caused. I think very lyrically, it wouldn't be out of place on Fear. It really wouldn't.
James?
I really like this one. And it's got Aziz and Dal on it, which is the tablas and that sort of Middle Eastern. This is a lyric that was used or nearly got used on marbles.
I was going to say this is an old lyric, isn't it? It's been
It
around
is an
for a
old
while.
lyric. Yeah, he used it on quite early on in the marble sessions, and actually this was a song that got it was called Heart of Darkness on the marbles Marillion version, and they actually worked on it quite a bit, and it was a similar sort of vibe, sort of Apocalypse Now, dark brooding song. So I was familiar with the lyric, and that version might see the light of day at some point on a Marbles remaster if I get the chance. But you never know.
You've got no choice now. You're going to get forced into it.
Yeah.
Hard up the back.
Whether it
Yeah.
gets past the gatekeepers, isn't it?
Yes, whether it does get past the gatekeepers.
Tell Gandalf we need it.
But I like it. I think, it sort of echoes to that fear, power, corruption, sort of whole sentiment. But no, I think it's a good song. Again, this is one I would say should it just have been on an EP.
Okay.
James, sorry, can I ask the question? Was this something they tried to revisit at any point after that period? So it just got left alone there and never
just got left.
Fear?
It just got left on the shelf and never picked up on the following album sessions. And I don't think he's ever used it since until this.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Craig?
This is my favorite track on the EP. I think it's a good, almost like spiritual follow-up to Gaza, and it kind of is the runway launch pad for Fear. And I think it's funny because since H used this now, I think it would have been clever to have actually held it back to be part of Fear, not necessarily the musical motif with it, but the whole theme of what Fear was. It would fit on that album really, really well. But no, I think it's a definitely a highlight of all of these projects. I think it's really, really good.
It'd be interesting to see if this had come out, if you'd have swapped what they were doing with Fear, because by 2013 they'd only just started jamming what was going to become Fear. So I think if you'd have had this after Fear, would half these lyrics have actually had appeared on Fear?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's okay. I think the tracks either side of it work better for me personally. I really like the next track, and I really like Daddy Does Work. So this is it's kind of a bit of a wall of noise thing, really. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. The last track on the EP is Elaine. Gary.
Yeah, I was thinking about a lot of the lyrics on the EP and the album. I was wondering whether he would have the vulnerability of a lot of them would have got through to a Marillion record, especially the personal ones like this song. Just devastatingly beautiful to me. It's in the way that H sings it, it's very childlike, naive. Obviously with the subject matter, and the lyric kills me. The one, where is it? Your love embarrassed me sometimes. We are our mother's babes all our lives, which is just, I think I've probably got it wrong, but just absolutely beautiful sentiment. I know, he not long lost his mum, so it's just a beautiful song.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, I've kind of put this as an unrequited ode to his mum. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of those where it's I think we've all talked about this being a headphones album. This one's definitely up there for having the cans on and just listening to this. It's soft piano, beautiful little backbeat on it. And that midsection, actually, there's reminders of sort of motifs in there of Blue Nile even, which I got from it. Stunning, absolutely stunning, and a lovely piece of music as an ode to his mum.
Yeah. Okay. Nate?
I think it's an extremely vulnerable lyric, but there's a line in there which jumps out to me, which is, "Elaine, I wrote this song too late," and for me, it's almost his way of saying, I wrote so much about my dad, so obviously there's bits of Strange Engine that were about his dad, potentially Neverland's about his dad, bits of Neverland. Whereas I can't think of anything that jumps out immediately about his mum. So for me, this is his way of saying, heck, I should have done something, and this is it. What's interesting for me is when you look in the CD booklet, the lyrics are written out on what in his handwriting, what looks to be his diary. Now I don't know when his mum's birthday is, but the second half of the lyrics is written on his birthday, which appears to be a nice Easter egg for nerds like me.
Okay. Yeah. First page is Friday the 22nd of April. And the last page is Saturday the 14th of May. James?
Well, just what Gary said about whether this would work on a Marillion album, parts of this lyric were tried out early in the sound sessions, but never got on and as often as they do, if a lyric doesn't land on a good musical idea, it never gets used. So this was tried out a little bit, but I think it's a lovely way to end the EP. It's a really nice ode, and the music is again ethereal, and the way it comes across is just it's something I sort of grow as I've listened to this more. It's come to more fore, and I've liked this song every time I've listened to it.
Yeah. Craig?
The way I see it is, it's like to mum with love, isn't it? It's almost like what Fish did with Garden of Remembrance for his mum and dad. The similar kind of like sentiment where you wanted to write something for the parents. And I think what Nathan said, how TSE and Bits of Neverland and stuff like that have been for his dad. He never really did anything like that for his mum, whereas this feels, I just think it's a shame that it's buried at the end of a lesser known EP to get more wider known. If it's it must be an important lyric and an important song for him personally, and I think it needed a wider audience.
Well, still available to buy, is Arclight. I think it's an incredible piece of work. Some brilliant H lyrics and gorgeous piece of music that Richard Barbieri's put behind it. It's a great way to end this short EP. And we heard nothing from the duo together for a long time, did we? Because when was the tour supposed to be? So there was a rumoured tour.
The dates were booked.
Yeah. The dates what?
The dates were booked and tickets were bought.
I've got a ticket for it somewhere.
For Manchester, wasn't it? We were going to go to Manchester. So it was a band on the wall or somewhere. I can't remember.
It was, I think so, somewhere like that.
I thought
that's where we were going to go.
Was it 2014? Was it after Arclight? Maybe we could research this box.
I can't remember.
We're about to drop this in, Craig. But then we heard nothing from them for quite a while, and then in 2023, on the 5th of May, 3 tracks were released to Bandcamp.
I have the tour dates.
Oh, thank you. What,
Hey.
Oh, wonderful.
Nathan
They
looked
were-
like he was googling quickly.
They were August, so they were the end of August to the start to the middle of September 2013,
oh,
and the dates in the UK were due to be at the Ritz and the Scala.
okay.
Oh, that's it. I had a ticket for the Scala.
We were going to go to Manchester.
I've got the ticket somewhere. I don't know where it is, but yeah. Well, it didn't happen, and the official word was due to ticket sales. So it would have been amazing. I have to
Yeah,
say.
didn't I think H has come out and said, because I asked a question on Corona Diaries quite a while ago around what the potential set list would have been, and wasn't it like the German promoter had basically, if it went ahead, he was going to lose his house. And,
House, yeah.
Mm.
yeah,
Was it going to be like maybe we answered, I can't remember. It was going, but I seem to remember it was going to start sort of him and Barbieri, and then other people joining as the set went on.
it was going to be. The backing musicians were going to be. There was an Irish band, Relish, that supported them at the Wolverhampton weekend. I think they were going to be the backing band
Oh, okay.
for the shows.
Wow. Okay.
I was going to say the obvious part to join them would be Crack then.
To be sure.
Anyway, the 3-track EP that I was talking about that was released in 2023 was Waiting to Be Born. Gary, have you heard this?
I'm gonna hand back my my number one Steve Hogarth fan badge
Are you?
because I'm looking forward to hearing about this EP and I will buy it out of pure shame.
It's £5 on Bandcamp.
Yeah, I'm sure I can cobble that together.
Play it.
It's Bandcamp Friday tomorrow.
Bandcamp Friday
Yeah,
tomorrow. As
yeah,
we
there
record.
you go. There you go.
You don't even need to pay. You can just play it if you want
Yeah.
to. Paul, Waiting to
I'll-
Be Born track.
Yeah, I did hear this, but it's been a while, to be honest. And I think it might have fallen. It's one of them that's kind of fallen by the wayside for me, I'm afraid. So I'm handing over the reins to someone else.
It's over to Nathan then.
So yeah, I mean, just to give a little bit of background to this. So this came together reading the information about it. This was from 2015 session. So clearly there was another session down the line to work on some other stuff. Waiting to Be Born's a very, very strange song. It's got lines about supermarkets in there and all sorts of very odd things. It's not a lyric I particularly understand, and it's quite a simple melody. It's quite childlike for me. It's not inoffensive, but it's probably my least favorite thing on the 3-track EP.
Okay, James.
Yeah, I'm the same with Nathan on this one. I think it's for me it's the third out of 3, but it's an older lyric. It has been tried a few times over various Marillion sessions and ideas and things like that. And again, it's never caught. But it's okay. I seem to remember it's suddenly coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
When they announced the EP, I was like, oh really?
I don't think it was that well promoted either, was it?
No.
But yeah, it is
I
on.
think they sort of mentioned.
It's on Marillion official, so
Yeah, I think he'd mentioned something about working with him on TCD a couple of times before this happened, and then suddenly it was like, oh, we've got this coming out.
Yeah. Craig, have you heard it?
Yeah. It's quite avant-garde. I think I like the drum beat in it. It's because it's got a drive and drum beat all the way through, and some interesting Barbieri type keyboard swashes and things. So but I have put on my notes lyrically WTF.
Okay. I think it's all right. It's a reasonably poppy song, to be honest with you. I think.
Well, it's only like 4 minutes long or something. So
Yeah.
It's one of his sort of off the wall lyrics. He does
It
pull
is,
out
it is,
from
yeah.
time to time. Yeah.
Before you were a baby, before you were alive, you were in the supermarket in the sky. I saw you smile as I walked down the aisle. I was standing behind you. Everyone was waiting to be born. Everyone was waiting for God. And God tore us in half and mixed us up. And we never knew for so many years. And we lived apart with one heart beating.
Answers on a postcard to the above address.
Okay.
Question from Mr. Hogarth on Monday.
Yeah. Track 2 is Permafrost. Paul?
No, pass.
Nathan?
So yeah, for me again, considering this was probably written in 2015, I think there's bits of fear in there. There's still the wars are raging, and then later on, here are the facts on a steady course to annihilation. It's very doomsday. It's very, something's coming towards us. It's not good. I think it's my favorite track on this EP.
Is it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it the couple of times I've played it today.
Right. James?
I'm going to have to agree with Nathan again. This is my favorite off the EP as well. I think it's great. I think it's dark, brooding, threatening. This something came to me, and you might all look at me completely strangely, but I think there's whiffs in his vocal delivery of a bit of Grace Jones, bit of Slave to the Rhythm, bit of the way he sings it. And I know he's a bit of a fan of Grace Jones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of, as I was listening through it was like, yeah, I can see that sort of vocal delivery. But yeah, it's my favourite song off the EP.
Okay. Craig?
I'm with Nathan on this. It is very much Road to Fear, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's one of the best tracks. Well, it probably is the best track on this EP. Yeah, I mean it's 7 minutes long, so it's not exactly in a hurry to get anywhere.
No. It's okay. I mean, it's like a dub type thing, isn't it? And it starts
Yeah.
with him mumbling again. It's like, oh, come on. Enunciate, man. Enunciate. Please.
Elocution lessons. The rain in Spain.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't seem to be getting what you guys are getting from it, if I'm honest. But yeah, we should really have seen the signs, shouldn't we, with all these lyrics as to where he was going. And the last track is Alibis. Paul?
No,
No.
pass, I'm afraid. I
Shake his head, yeah.
need to get back to that.
Nathan?
Again, for me, it's an answer on a postcard as to what this lyric's about. There's just as I think it's making sense, it goes off in a different direction. But it's nice enough. But would I wish to play it again? Probably not.
Well, what does insensitivized silver halide? What does that mean?
Is it a character from Dune?
So a halide is a binary compound of a halogen with another element or group.
Oh, of course it is. Sorry about that. Your Google speed's amazing, mate, I have to say. James, what do you make of this?
300 words a minute, I think Nathan's topping up as. I like bits of this. I like the piano chords and the way the song's structured. Yeah, it's sort of when you're listening to it, it's like, okay, where are we going with this? Yeah, so to be honest, I haven't written a lot of notes on this one.
No.
Same here.
I like it, and yeah, it's a nice song. That's what I can say.
Okay. Greg, nothing to add?
Not hugely. It's a bit not exactly more of the same. It's almost like with these three tracks, if these are from a session where they only produced these tracks because they couldn't move it any further forward, were they particularly stuck at this point? Was there not enough material to go for like another proper full EP? And it's just odd that it's taken, about it would take about 8 years to pop it out.
So on Bandcamp under the tracks it says they were written in 2015, but we didn't follow up on at the time because of other commitments, but also ensure that they were future album material.
Okay, so they were a little bit sort of experimental then.
Yeah, I mean, Alibis is, to me, smacks. Those you get those word magnets. It smacks of him throwing them on the fridge door and eggy lyrics. Really.
You mean you think he's just tipped out a tin of alphabet spaghetti and just hoped?
It's okay.
Out of this.
It's not a patch on some of the stuff on the previous two records, I would have to say.
Nowhere near.
But that to date is the sum total of Steve Hogarth, Richard Barbieri's output, isn't it?
And very interesting it is too.
It is. It is.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's for everybody, but I think there are lots of elements that people would enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you haven't heard Not the Weapon but the Hand, I'd go and have a listen to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely worth having a listen.
And
But
certainly
don't go in
if
with
Fear
that
is-
many preconceptions.
If Fear is one of your favourite albums, you know, we're recommending these off the back of that, aren't we? Certainly Arclight and Not the Weapon but the Hand. Very much of that style of Hogarth delivery, I think.
And it's very experimental, both lyrically delivered and musically as well. So I think it's going to be quite Marmite. You'll have a reaction one way or the other.
Well,
I think what's quite interesting about it is that of the two tracks that have been played live, so Arclight and Red Kite, they were both done during a Night of the Prog set with Isildur's Bane when they did the Colours Not Found in Nature. So I believe the footage is on YouTube. I've not gone looking for it for a couple of years, but we can potentially have a glimpse at what would have been.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So we asked you what you thought of this, and I'm going to hand over to me and Craig.
Yeah, let's have a dive into the post bag.
So that's what we think of the Steve Hogarth, Richard Barbieri output. We asked you on the 30th of January what you think of it, and thank you to everybody who put some comments in the Facebook group. Here are some of the highlights. Seamus Colgan. You going to say it, Craig?
Very good friend of the pod.
You've gone up a level. Still not got a badge, but you've gone up a level. A mixing pot of new age, ambient, progressive rock, alternative rock, all creating dreamy atmospherics and gorgeous soundscapes. RH's vocals are as expressive, emotional, and gut-wrenching as we would expect, but here they are unusually often softly whispered. His lyrics, in turn, are extremely personal, emotional, but on this album they are sadder and deeper than usual. Not one for half paying attention. This album is deep and complex affair, full of surprises, but it definitely rewards with repeated listens. If you want to buy a few essential releases from Mr. H, from the time after he joined Marillion, I would strongly recommend Not the Weapon but the Hand, Ice Cream Genius, and his beautiful live album SPQR. All good advice, but I would hold off buying Ice Cream Genius for a couple of months because there's a really nice package coming out.
So just to whet your appetite, you might as well have a play with it on streaming until the Super Duper Deluxe comes out, because that's something that we're all really looking forward to. Okay, Darren Hewitt. I'll say another one, a friend of the pod. They're all friends of the pod. Not the Weapon has some interesting tracks, but I find it as a whole quite slow and a bit self-indulgent in atmosphere over songwriting. Red Kite is the highlight track for me, but not an album I go back to much these days. Love the artwork. Can't say it. Love the artwork. Very clever. Arclight, well, negative hat on. I find it dull as dishwater and just cannot find anything interesting on this at all. A collection of leftovers, I find. Whether it's true or not, it's what it sounds like to me. I wasn't surprised the tour was cancelled through lack of interest. Not enough hooks or tempo on these to keep me returning. I've tried, but it's just not my thing.
Okay. Mark Griffin says, the project is interesting and the album has its charm, though I rarely revisit it. It's refreshing to see artists experiment, and H likely enjoyed working differently from Marillion's jam sessions.
Andy Bliss. Bought Weapon, but it never really clicked with me. Didn't bother with Arclight, so I've never heard it. Didn't even know Waiting to Be Born existed. Well, to be fair, I don't think there was a lot of push for Waiting to Be Born. Really.
No, it's available through Racket's Bandcamp, isn't it? So, yeah. Stuart Mitchell says, one of my least favourite H things. It's just not my sort of thing.
So it's not got a lot of love. Mind you, Asha Jackstruck, I don't know how to pronounce that surname. I'm really, really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Love them all, including Bandcamp songs.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Catherine Rudd Elster says, I love this collaboration. Electronic, atmospheric, melodic, and a bit dark. It's exactly the kind of music I listen to when I'm not listening to Marillion, so it blends perfectly into my record collection.
Catherine Roik, can't find anything interesting in the first two albums, which are on YouTube. No magic at all for me, I'm afraid. Perhaps a bit harsh to say, but if I'd not known it was our H, I would have gone as far as describing it as terribly bland and rather odd and cringe.
Yeah,
It's a lot of polar opposites, isn't there, for this?
there is a bit. I mean, I hope that you've got this far into the podcast, even if you don't like the album, because I would say my initial view was I didn't like it, but go back and listen to it. Listen to it in headphones. It's a phenomenal record. It really is, and you know, as we've said on this episode, it's the start of Mr. H exploring different ways of singing, speaking, whispering, shouting. You know, there's all sorts of stuff on it. But it sounds wonderful. It really does.
And yeah, as I've said, I've practically ignored this album for the last 10 years because I found, similar to what the guys have said and what I've already said, you know, it didn't have the kind of hooks for me that I would normally expect. But re-listening and reworking and going to it, I found more to like in it. I do definitely have.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what everybody thinks of Not the Weapon but the Hand and the other stuff and Arclight. I'm going to hand myself over. That's not right, is it?
That's a bit wrong.
I'm going to hand myself in. No.
I think you need to.
Yeah. It's back to Craig and me. So that's what everybody thinks of Steve Hogarth, Richard Barbieri stuff. We want to thank you for listening to this podcast. If you do enjoy the podcast, please like and subscribe us because it makes us make more people aware of the podcast and gets us out to a wider audience. But I want to particularly thank Mr. Gary Page.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Craig. Been a pleasure.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you to Paul McMillan.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a great voyage of rediscovery on these two albums. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Nathan Page, thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you, mate. And Sir James of Levey.
Pleasure as always, gents.
Thank you, James. Thanks for all the support you've given us as well. And thank you to my podcast other half, Faye.
Why, thank you.
All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Whose turn is it?
Stay alive!
Yay!
Hey!
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all the good stuff.